If you're in the unfortunate position of needing a lawyer, then you need to talk to Wilfred Dore from Dore Legal. Wilfred has been practicing law since 1988 and specialising in family law for the last 18 years. So you can rest assured he has the experience to get you the best possible outcome. Wilfred is someone you can trust and feel comfortable with. His warm and friendly manner ensures you get through this difficult time with a minimum of stress. Dore Legal is conveniently located in the Canning Bridge office precinct on the fringe of Perth CBD, and there's lots of easy parking. So call Dore Legal now and know your rights and what you can expect. Dore Legal will help you get your life back on track. Dore Legal, the experience of a big city law firm without the big city price tag.
Gone through exceptionally well. They have tried to keep things on track. They have tried to keep things in control and in perspective with myself and also my wife. And they know exactly what they're doing and exactly what needs to be done, and we're very efficient in relation to knowledge of the laws and what obviously can and can't be done. And at the end of the day, the end result was exactly what they told me it was going to be.
Thanks to Richard and his staff at Freeman, Lurie Singh and D'Angelo at Rockingham, the settlement I received far exceeded my expectations, and they just made the whole process really relaxed and stress-free. I've already recommended Freeman, Lurie Singh and D'Angelo to several people. In fact, my brother has just finished going with them, and several other people I've recommended them to, because I couldn't fault them.
Well, more than 1 in 3 couples end up getting divorced in WA, and the wait to have the courts rubber stamp a separation takes on average 18 months. High costs can leave people with massive debts, hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket. There's ongoing debate that the system's in crisis, so what can be done to debate the issue? Let's bring in lawyers John Hammond and David Quartermain-Thompson. Good afternoon to you, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
John, to you first. Is our family law system in crisis?
Well, look, I think there's a real problem from where I sit, and one of the reasons I'm sitting next to David Quartermain-Thompson is David's been working in this area for nearly 14 years and has been at the coalface of family law for that time. So, you know, what I'd like to say to David is I think there's some serious problems there at the moment. I mean, you look at a parenting order trial, and that's to decide, you know, who gets what share of their kids. That can take 2 years to reach the courts.
Well, David, dealing with the courts is costing people, in some cases, as I mentioned, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Is there an easier option?
Oh, Tracy, there's a plethora of different options. People must think about trying to agree issues. So rather than arguing about tiny things that you might not need to argue about, think about actually sitting down with a decent lawyer, get decent advice, and from that point, really work towards settling. Don't argue.
But as John said, why is it taking almost 2 years to get to even the courts?
Look, unfortunately, the family court is massively under-resourced in Western Australia and across Australia. For example, we've had 27% increase in applications made to the court, but no more judicial officers. So they can't work an extra quarter of their job. They can't do it. It's a resource issue, unfortunately, Tracy.
Okay.
And Tracy, there's also been a population explosion in WA. David's statistics are that we've got an extra 400,000 people here, and yet they have the same number of judges at the family court.
All right. So, John, what do you want done about it?
Well, there's a couple of things I'd like to see experimented with. In New Zealand, if you have $1 million worth of assets, for example, and you get married, there's a presumption of 50-50. And at times, I think you need to sacrifice justice for low cost and expediency.
David, what do you think? Oh, look at that face. You don't agree?
I'd like to see John explain that to someone who's disadvantaged by that sort of system, because this affects their life and possibly their children. It's a tough call, John.
Okay, so what would you do to fix it then, David?
Well, at the moment, the Law Reform Commission is tasked with bringing a report back to the government. That report should be available March 2019. While the system's not perfect as it stands, maybe we sit on the fence a little bit to see what the recommendations are.
So nothing can be done earlier?
Oh, resources. Ask the state government if they're happy to provide an extra $2 or $3 million for half a dozen more judges.
I think there's one thing David might agree with me on. We haven't agreed on much so far. And I'm careful when I speak to David Tracy because he's experienced in Muay Thai, which is a martial art.
We don't want that happening this afternoon.
I don't want him throwing me on the ground. But my key message would be, if you're in a family court dispute, take a haircut. lower your expectations and get out quick.
Okay.
Do not spend money needlessly. I don't know whether you agree with that or not, Dave.
It hurts me, Tracy. I have to agree with the man.
Okay. What about the benefits of just dealing with it on your own rather than seeking legal advice?
Oh, there's a raft of pitfalls, Tracy. In the same way that I'd be reluctant to plumb my own house, people might have to understand that lawyers are trained in this particular area and they do offer assistance to people and the right guidance.
Okay, so this New Zealand option, which kind of sounds quite logical, I must admit I kind of agree with John. That one, you don't think that'll work at all, David?
Well, I think the big problem is it's not the case that one system will fit everyone in that circumstance. So, for example, a mum with 3 kids who's been out of the workforce for 15, 20 years, her husband makes an income, say, of $400,000, small asset pool, she gets, what, half of that, but then she's got to raise the children on her own with no income earning capacity. It's just not going to fit for her, Tracy.
All right, John and David, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.